Hello and welcome to the After Show Afterthoughts. And I have my two guests from this week. I have Diane Wilson, who will wave her hand at you. Yes. And then there's Franz Jones. We also have our attendee. We have MAMIE DUNCAN GIBBS, who is there for us also. So we're very, very excited to just continue a little bit of this conversation. At the end of the conversation, we were talking about special needs. But in general, what you need to know is that we talked about the arts in education, and we talked about the progression of teaching and why there are some teachers in the system, while there are other teachers that regard it as a calling. There's some teachers who regard it as something that they do while they're waiting for something else. And the disadvantage of that are the students. So we really spent a lot of time talking about that, the different places where Franz and Diane have taught, and the impact that they're doing something that was not really laid out, and the lack of flexibility that is in our education system that doesn't allow us to really reach out to the child, but focuses on methodology. And that's one of the things that we really wanted to really work a little bit more on. So with that being said, Diane, the last thing that you said is we didn't really talk about special needs. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, here's where the artists kind of fall short, only because they're so into their art and they cater to the kids who have it, the divas, who are just born ready, or some, not all of them, but a lot of the people who come into the job for that reason. I'm thinking of some people that I know.
I know you're thinking of specific people.
Yes,
I know you are.
Talk about, but anyway, they don't want to be bothered. And they want the students to rise above the disability, or they really don't want to teach them. They want the diva kids, so their shows look great. And they're missing out because I put on a show, a Michael Jackson tribute. The special needs kids pulled it off. They were the ones who were the greatest, Yeah. People, yeah. I don't know. It takes a lot of work sometimes because they get into their moods, and if they're, with different disabilities, the autism, they shut down.
Medication sometimes, is also instrumental in it, because there's medications that they have to take that kind of sends them to another place for a little bit, and understanding that. When you understand that, then you wait till they come back. Yeah. Oh, I'm frozen. Oh boy. Let's just see how this is going to work now. How are we going to do this? I didn't know that we were going to freeze.
Yeah, there she's back.
Okay, you're back.
I am back. It is one of those things that happens. I'm always knocked out, unfortunately. Okay, now we have a question. This is such an open, honest podcast. I didn't want to interfere with the flow, but I had to come on to tell you all how much I enjoyed this conversation. Oh, that's Mamie. Oh. Thank you so very much, Mamie. Thank you.
Mamie should be on this program talking about it, but she teaches dance.
Well, I had thought about it, but her schedule is and she. Yeah. I should have just told her you come all the time.
Can she speak? I mean, in their way.
Yes. Wait a minute. Let me just see if I can do all of this so that we can. I will allow her to talk. There she is. There you are. Now she can talk, but she has to unmute herself.
Oh, you all are too funny. I'm up here grading papers and doing all kinds of stuff. I had midterms this past week, so I'm, calculating the grades and posting it online.
You're doing that, you are the person that's right there.
Right.
Right.
Yes. Well, I'm having a wonderful time. But no, I just love this honest discussion for someone to say this was terrible. This was, just coming out and telling it like it is. And I just love it. I love it. I'm sitting here just cheering you all on. And I was like, yep, the truth, tell it, tell it. You know, and so many people just teach, like you say, for the check and the summer's off. And teachers are so important. This is, you know,
Oh,
we
yes.
train our future.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
train the
Yes.
future, and people don't take it seriously. And,
No,
you know, we got to do
no.
better. We've got to do
Yeah.
better.
Well, you know, we also have to make it a priority in our society. That's one of the things that we have to do. Our society doesn't make it a priority either. And
Right.
That's the reason why people like, you know, who our former president get elected, is because they are using ignorance of one another in order to be able to promote their own agendas.
yeah,
Because the less that people know, the less they can speak about, the less they can complain about, the less they can affect some kind of change. As we were talking earlier about how school desegregation had such an impact, that fear was because certain people that were in charge knew that if students got to know one another, they grew up around one another and really got close, that they wouldn't be able to do the things that they had been promoting for years in this country.
Well, I mean, the same thing happened with the television. When I say social media, for social media of the 50s was American Bandstand, was Shindig. All that was the social media of the 50s and 60s. And the same thing that would happen was they couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop the concerts where the artists would come in and the students would just dance with one another. They thought that they could segregate it, but when they got in the aisles, nobody cared. Nobody was interested in it. You know, it's an institutionalized thing that people have created to bring about barriers. So out of their fear for equality, out of that fear, but they needn't fear us. You know, people being equal. We have always been equal. There's no need to fear.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that's interesting, because again, the arts have that ability to do that, because people can find common ground in art. You can find common ground in visual art, in voice, in dance. Because if somebody that's from, say, Boston sees somebody from North Carolina do a dance in a certain way, it's going to have an effect on that person.
Of course, absolutely, because you bring the environment with you. You bring all of your history with you, all of that. I think the thing that disappoints me the most in the arts is when I see that an institution or a group has allowed the politics to enter into it. And so it represents what we've been running from all along. And we've run from being in a corporate structure that mandates and demands that we are who they want us to be. You know, I find that in the arts. I mean, the arts has been over many opportunities. I've been mandated to perform a certain way, to say, you know, well, this is the interpretation that we really want, and we want you to change that. And I'm saying, but what are we doing this for? Are we doing this for you and your interpretation? Are we not doing it for the audience that is responding to the interpretation that they've been seeing now for the last 6-8 months? So now all of a sudden you decided that interpretation isn't what you want. So, you know, my performance should change. And of course, I've gotten in trouble all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, but, you know, again, as we've talked about many times, all of us at some point have talked about this, is the fact that audiences are smarter than they're given credit for being.
Yes.
Audiences discern. They know what they like. They know what they want to see. They know when they want to be opened up to something new.
Exactly. And, you know, I don't underestimate them, and I don't insult them.
And we
There are a lot of people who do, who sign our checks. And that's what's difficult sometimes. And it's sometimes difficult, and you have to walk away, because your self-integrity, I think, has no price. And so, you know, and you have artistic differences with people. You do. There's some people who say, well, look, I'm a tool and I'll do whatever you want to say. I think the difference between me and that those people is this, and it's a small one, because I'm just as ambitious as they are, is that I am concerned about the impact of what I am doing on the audiences in which see what I'm doing and the culture that I'm affecting, whatever imagery it is, whatever kind of colloquial impact that when I'm asked to speak a certain way, because that is what people think that way it should go. Well, what is the impact of that? And that it's very important because we don't do it. We don't do performances in isolation.
No, and I'm making the point to students, to children. That's the same thing. As we say, audiences are smart enough, then they're given credit for being. I think children are too.
Oh, they're the smartest audiences that they are.
They're the smartest.
They're the smartest ones because you can't fool them. They know when you are insincere. They know when you're not in it, and they start talking. They start throwing things around. When you have an audience where that's a youthful audience, and you can hear them breathe, you know that you're doing.
You know you have.
You know,
listen, ever done children's theater? You know it. You absolutely.
It's the best training ground ever. I would say to anyone. You know, Diane, you were saying something? Yes.
I just wish we could be more inclusive. You know, a lot of people complain about things and they think they're great educators. And I remember I love the Beatles. It's good music. And I wanted to introduce my kids to something different. So I'm not afraid of that. I've been at meetings for the arts and the teachers have caved. That's why they do a lot of the stuff that they do that's not quality, because the kids want it. I fought the kids. I said, look, they listened to Yesterday by Paul McCartney and they were until I did my arrangement. Now my skill didn't help.
Yes.
So, but they were begging for it after, you know, what do you want to do this year? Yesterday. So, but you have to spread it all around. I had an African-American teacher say to me after that show, I'm shocked that you did the Beatles. I mean, you couldn't do like Michael Jackson. We ended up doing that. I mean, you do it all. I couldn't believe she said that. And she's, you know, and my kids, I didn't even know about, what was that show where they sang? There was a TV show, high school kids.
Glee.
Glee. Yes, it was a G. I know it was a G. Yes.
Glee did something with Beatles music. I had one kid who knew everything. He ended up singing that Obla-dee, Obla-da. I mean, we were all over.
Life goes on.
It was the best show ever.
Yes.
The best.
Yes.
And I was inclusive. My kids, I had kids who, the whole audience responded to this Jewish song we did. And the kids were begging to sing that. And it was a ballad. Oh, say shalom. You know, and they were like this on stage. They can do it.
I love it.
We did Blackpink.
It's such a, you know, but the experience it's a life experience that they will never forget.
No.
You know, you remember the things that you did as a child, that one or two performance that, you know, you go, oh yeah, I remember when we did that in the assembly, you know, when we had assemblies then. I don't know what you call them now. Now I'm dating myself.
That's the other thing. They don't do that.
And so they don't do that any longer.
Don't even know how to enter a room properly. It's terrible. They don't know the Star Spangled Banner.
No, it's funny.
I asked my husband this. I said, now listen, Carly, because he's a numbers person. I said, and excuse me. He said, when you were, you know, at one point in time, very close to when he retired, he wanted to give back to a number of students. And there was an institution that allowed him to do that. And they were music students. So before they got to their musical rehearsal, they had to do their math and English homework. So he was in charge of the math part. So he came home one day and he said, they don't know the multiple times table.
Ooh.
I said, what do you mean they don't know? He said, I asked him, I said, well, what's 5 times 5? And they started pulling out the calculator. He said, calculator, no calculator. You don't know what 5 times 5? Well, how do I get to that? How do I get to that? So he actually said 1, 2, 3, 4, cross 5. You do that 5 times. Count that up. That's 25.
Right.
He said, Lynnie, they stopped teaching the multiplication.
They don't teach multiplication tables.
No.
They don't
Same
teach
thing.
cursive. Well, what's going to happen?
No, they don't teach cursive.
Oh
No,
my
they
God.
don't.
Now, what's going to happen? Everybody's signature looks exactly the same now. Online, everybody's signature looks exactly the same.
Because
Online,
you
okay.
can't sign
So,
your
but
actual.
didn't
Right.
my system just freeze you all? So
Right.
it okay. We have a blackout, but you need to get some money from the bank, and you need to sign a check to get it because there's no more ATM.
No,
Do you know how to sign the check to get it?
Oh my God.
no,
You know how to make
You're
the check
open-
out so you can make it to yourself to cash it? Do you know? Do you understand that I said in one of my businesses, I had said to a young woman, we're ready to pay. I said, but you know what? We don't have the checks right now, so we'll send you a money order. Would you like a money order or a bank check? And she said, I don't know what those things are.
Yep.
What is a money order or a
Mm.
bank check? And I went,
Not surprised.
Terrifying.
Not surprised.
Well, see, but let's take the next step because they also don't know the language that we speak, which is English.
Well, Franz.
English is not taught in schools any
This
longer,
is true.
along with social studies.
Oh,
It's not.
they're creative with those
When
names.
I was at Cornell, and we were working on plays that are written in English, I had to translate for them what was being said. And these are college students. They said, well, what does that mean? I said, look it up in the dictionary. Huh? The dictionary. Okay, let me get my phone.
Right.
That book over there is a dictionary. You can look it up in that book. And it will it'll tell you how to say it, and it will define what it means.
it will give you the part of speech that it is, whether it's a noun or verb.
Exactly.
And I will say this. Let me just say
we
this,
learned phonetics.
I have to say, and I got after even Martha Stewart, who I am a fan of, especially before and after all of her commitments to,
Right.
We need to use adverbs.
Oh, yeah.
What will they say? Oh, I had that. That was fun. That was great fun. An adverb. There's certain things that they'll say without the adverb. I said, do you know that there are 8 parts of speech? Do you know what those are? Do you know? No.
The basics that we know are not being taught in school.
Not at all.
And I mean, I know that, it's another generation, and I know that people are saying, oh, you're showing your age, you're showing, but I think that you're better prepared to speak when you when you have command of the language in which you were born to.
Absolutely.
But also the education system has to teach it to you.
It's like the song from My Fair Lady that Professor Higgins, why can't the English teach their children how to speak? Norwegians learn their Norwegians. The Greeks are taught their Greek. Every Frenchman knows this language from A to Z. The French don't actually care what they do as long as they pronounce it properly. Arabians learn Arabian with the speed of summer lightning, and Hebrews learn it backward, which is absolutely frightening. But speak proper English, you're regarded as a freak. Why can't the English teach their children how to speak?
How to speak.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, with that,
oh
now
no,
you all,
time again.
yes, I promised it would only be 10 to 15 minutes, and of course it's now 20 minutes. And we could go on and do this for I always
this
love
one deserves
the
a part 2, Lynnie.
Yes, I always there are, and maybe I can convince Mamie if her schedule allows it, because she's going to be busier and busier as she gets closer to the event. I can get a fudge back,
that'd be
we've got wonderful teachers who can have conversations, and all of us are people who are concerned about our children, whether we have children, we have grandchildren, or we have family members who have them. I'm always concerned about, how how the children speak, how they sit at a table. And I'm out with my husband's family. He's the eldest of 8, so there are many nieces and nephews. And the young ones sit down, and I go, we're at a restaurant, and they start, and I said, no, where's your napkin, darling? Where's your napkin?
Oh, and
I can always do it without moving my lips. So
with a group of people, I was taught that when everyone is seated, you wait until everyone is seated and prepared, and you don't dig in until.
No, you don't.
Right.
No. I mean, but there's the etiquette and all of that, and I know that it's boring for some people, but I think there's a compromise that needs to happen, that we need to bring some of it back, because we've kind of gone to the extreme. And but with that said, I think we better end this now, my dear friends. Mamie, thank you so much for always tuning in and grade those papers well. Grade those papers.
I didn't have old broken down knees. I'd come to your dance class, but I do.
Oh, listen, you can come there, and she will do it with whatever knees. She's just amazing. She's just amazing.
Well, she looks amazing. So
she does. She does look amazing. But she's just amazing in how she is so very careful.
Yeah.
With it. Sometimes we have to say, okay, maybe we need to start the warm up now, because you're going to warm up for 10 minutes and we got to go. You just want it's just a wonderful, wonderful place. I think it's a safe place. It's a safe place. It's not a judgmental place. There's nobody competing with anybody else. Everybody's concerned about where they're going and where their place is, what their place is. And I would encourage anyone, if you want to experience that, to find out, I'll go to MamieDuncanGibbs.com, I believe is her website, and then find out what she's going to do. She's getting busy now, so I don't know if she can do it for a very long time, but try to catch her before she stops, because she's fierce. All right, with that said, you all are fierce also. Thank you so very much. Stay on a little bit. I'm going to stop this recording, but stay on and let me thank you all personally. But I want to thank you all for hanging in there with us at the After Show Afterthoughts. See what you get. You never know. We've started talking about children with disabilities, but I think we're going to have to probably have another panel with that before the season is over. Maybe we'll try to do that before we break for the holidays. All right. So thank you so very much for tuning in. Thank you, Diane Wilson, for being here. Thank you, Franz Jones, for doing it. And here I am, Lynnie Godfrey, signing off. I'll see you on the radio. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.